Margaret.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you for having us in to talk to you about the bond issue and the building of new facilities in the school district. It's a critical issue right now, and we're trying to get information out to everybody. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have heard now that there will be a June 24th bond election?
Why are we asking for a June bond election instead of during the November election this year, presidential election? And the reason why is after we've been going through this assessment process for about a year and a half, really, in terms of looking at our buildings and realizing what we needed to do to make improvements. But the increase on construction of particularly school properties in this state have been going up between 6 and 15% per year for years now. And in the last several years, it's been going up around 15% per year for building schools. If this bond is passed in June instead of in November, the school district, we would recognize a savings of $1.5 million just because of that construction inflation. And if this bond passed in June instead of November, we would be able to get students into new buildings by the beginning of the school year in 2010. August of 2010 is the projected time of completion. And that's 2 school years away. It's not very long, really, when you think about it. So I'm going to talk about what it costs. This is a $31 million bond. Priorities again. Replacing the 2 elementary schools with 1 school, 1 building. Second priority is to provide a vocational ed building that in fact was part of the high school bond project back in the 90s originally, but because of the need to shave costs, that was thrown out. So that never happened back in the 90s with the high school bond. It's time to build that, and it needs to be next to the high school. The third priority is replacing the middle school, which was built in 1962, and it has a lot of the same problems that the 2 elementary schools do in terms of code issues, accessibility for folks in wheelchairs and other issues like that.
Hi, I'm Lori Martin.
I'm Nikki Hazlett.
Nikki, you have several children in school?
I do. My husband and I have 6 children, 5 of which are in the public schools. This past year we had 1 in each of the schools that are here in Moab. We are also business owners. We own Worldwide River Expeditions, located here in Moab, as well as my husband is a teacher. He teaches business classes at the high school.
And how do you find the schools here?
The schools have been great as far as the teachers. The teachers are wonderful in all the schools that we've been to. They've been very accommodating and helpful for my kids. The schools themselves have been not really scary, so to speak, but a little bit less than what I would hope that they would be.
And you attended a forum?
I did. I've attended several of the public forums that they've had out. The first one we attended at HMK, and I was very shocked at the things that we found there, but a little bit open-minded as to what the school was trying to do, and concerned as a citizen in the community, a business owner, as to what the cost would be to us. And realized, my husband and I, as we sat there, that we figured out between the properties that we own and the businesses that we have, that it would cost us over the 20-year life of the loan about $20,000. But after that first forum, we also felt that it was a very good investment, because just by having that school alone would help our property values as business owners and as property owners, that it would be a great investment and not be just a straight tax that it's being called. It would be an investment for the future, for our kids and for everyone else's kids in the community.
And is your husband looking forward to a new technical center?
Yes, he does teach at the vocational building as it stands now near the middle school, but he does look forward to having a new classroom facility that will help with the technology classes that he teaches. It would be very nice for him to have something like that. The second forum that we attended was at the middle school, and we didn't get there in time to tour it, but we did want to hear what was being said there, and they did have a copy of what the language would be on the ballot. And as I read through that, it was very tax, tax, tax. And I know that in these days and times, the word tax is very scary to people. It's also something that they want to avoid. And even some friends that have approached me that homeschool their kids have said, why should we support another tax for kids when our kids really aren't in the schools? But the language is set by law. The school district said that they have to put it in the ballot as it stands, talking about taxes, but this really isn't a tax. It is an investment for these buildings. It is something that is actually going towards concrete and not a tax that may seem like it just kind of goes up in the air. It is something that has a very physical result, and it is a physical result that is schools within 3 years if this bond passes on June 24th, and I look forward to that. 3 years having a new school is phenomenal. And also, the longer that we wait to build these schools, gas prices going up, construction costs going up, it's not if we need new schools, we do need new schools. It's when, and we need them now, because if we wait, the longer we wait, the more expensive that it gets, and it's not going to get less expensive as we go. We just need to do it now.
This is like a turning point. Usually, like 1 or 2 hands go up. It's been really difficult getting information out. We're using all avenues that we can come up with. We do have a mailer going out for the whole community. That we're thinking that would be the one way to get into all of the households. But you have a packet, and just very quickly, there's a yellow sheet here that advertises our 5th and our final forum, public forum, that will be presented on June the 10th, which is a Tuesday at the high school in the evening at 7 o'clock. What we'll be doing basically is going over the exact same thing that you're going to hear now, but using more time, because we want to condense this down. And we mostly have question and answer that evening. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, that's a great forum to attend.
Hi, I'm Lori Martin.
Hi, Rob
I'm a
Welch.
resident. Good to meet you.
You also.
I'm Brad Peak. Good to meet you.
Rob Welch, maintenance supervisor for the district. I started to work for the district as an electrician, and my predecessor, when he left, I became the maintenance supervisor. And
So you really know these schools.
yeah, I've been under them and on top of them and everywhere. I know them real well. Yeah, we're here in the multi-purpose room of the HMK, and we're talking about the MHTN assessment that was done in 2007 and some of the deficiencies that they talked about in that assessment. One of the things that they mentioned was this sagging ceiling.
Yeah, you can see it ripple.
Yeah, you can see it ripple. And we did do an inspection of it last summer before school started, and the ceiling is wired up. There are the tension wires that are on there. It's not going to come down. There might be a tile come down here and there, but it does need to be fixed. If they decide that they do not want to build any new schools, it's going to cost thousands of dollars to do this, but it's something that has to happen. Okay, so let's go outside and take a look at the electrical transformer that was mentioned in the report, and also the boiler room and the smokestack that they talked about.
Great.
This is the transformer. This is the smokestack that we're talking about.
That's right.
And right below that stack is the boiler room. And this was one of the things that the electrical engineer from the MHTN group that did the massive survey for the district pointed out, that this transformer is what they call a 75 kVA transformer that was put in the building probably when the building was built. and it's insufficient, and the building is now overloaded this transformer at this point. So it's one of the things that we're going to be dealing with in the electrical part of this building. Okay, this is the boiler room here. This is an unreinforced masonry building, and the boiler room, for some reason, they never did put a roof on this building. It's just a solid concrete ceiling on the boiler room, and it has cracked, and water's leaked down into the boiler room. It's caused some damage to some of the equipment over the years, and the structure of the thing is showing some very good stress cracks, and also the chimney's unreinforced masonry, and it's one of the suggestions that the MHTN group has talked to us about, and they would like to see this chimney come down ASAP if the building's even going for a short period of time.
Right.
So, and it will cost a lot of money for that to happen, but this is one of the deficiencies in the structure of the building.
And this kind of cracking due to age is just typical of unreinforced masonry.
It is typical of unreinforced masonry, you know, and there's over time and like say the weather and
Right.
settlement and things have caused some of this cracking.
And the codes were different when this
Yes.
school was built.
Definitely, the codes. This building was built to code at the time, but in 1955, the codes have changed probably 10 times since then. And if we do any retrofitting and restructuring of the building, it will have to be brought up to current codes, and they are very stringent now.
Right. And that would be extremely expensive. You'd have to go down to the foundation, wouldn't
Yes,
you?
they have to tie the roof and the roof clear down to the foundation, put shear walls in their place, and as their estimation could be that we could be paying as much as 75% of the cost of a new building.
And you'd still have an old building.
We still have an old building, and it probably look worse than it does instead of better. Let's take a look at the boiler room,
Good.
and you can kind of see what kind of a mechanical system that the school operates on it. And it works, but it's very inefficient, and it's very expensive to maintain and to operate.
Right.
Okay, do you have enough light? Yep. Okay. This boiler is a steam boiler, and it supplies all the steam to heat the complete building. The steam boiler works. We have to maintain it a lot. There's a lot of times that we have troubles with it, but it does work. But it's very expensive to run. The support system for the boiler, all of the mechanical fans, steam traps, pneumatic valves that operate this system are all old. The air handler system, they're all old. All of these things are problematic, and they're very expensive to fix. They have just little tiny half-inch steam valves that supply just a small radiator. Just the steam kit, repair kit for that thing's like $75.
Wow.
And sometimes they won't make it through a complete system, a season I should say, not system, but season.
Right.
And they are problematic all through, and then you lose a lot of steam, and energy goes just out at the roof.
So utility bills are really high.
Yeah, utility bills run real high, and another problem with this type of a system is if this boiler goes down, the whole building's completely out of heat.
Oh my gosh.
And so we try to stay on top of it, you know, and do the things that it takes to maintain it and keep it up. But
So it's
as you can
constant
see,
vigilance.
it's getting old, and but it does operate, and but our piping is really bad, and piping is very expensive to do. You can't do it in a plastic pipe or any of these new tech pipe because you're talking steam. Steam is 212. It probably needs 225 degrees out of this boiler.
Oh my goodness.
And so it has to be steel piping.
That
It
makes
has
sense.
to, and it has to be not galvanized pipe. It has to be black pipe because the federal regulation tells you have to run black pipe for steam. And therefore, when it does start to corrode, it can go fast if it gets out of control. So there's chemicals and all kinds of things that you have to keep up into these boilers. But But it is problematic, and our piping system's in real bad shape. The mechanical system for this whole thing is in real bad shape, and it will cost the district a fortune to replace it. But this, see, if you look at the ceiling up here, there's a big major crack that runs here on the left-hand corner there that's real bad, and I'm afraid to even have my men go in there and drill holes into this thing to secure different lighting and things.
You don't know what's going to happen.
I'm afraid that this thing could collapse.
Right.
It's really scary to think about being in here. And we might need to come in here, and if we don't do anything, put some kind of an extra support from underneath here to try to keep this thing up. But it's old, and it really needs to be replaced and done away with. I'm hoping if for some reason we do get lucky enough and the bond passes, that we build a sustainable, efficient system for our new building, that like ground source heating, and there's just so many things out there, solar, just so many things that we could save money on, that this 1900s technology will not have to be used any longer.
Good.
Education, I think, suffers because the money that it takes to maintain these old systems
could be going into
something better. You know, more technology and computers and things like that that shouldn't have to be. Okay, this is one of the main cracks you can see in the ceiling, and actually it's actually not only the crack. You can kind of see the metal rebar that is with this, that's tying this structure together.
I sure can.
And they're really rusting. If you see in some of the others, you can see where the rebars are coming across here. So concrete always has moisture in it. You seem like, you know, and the reinforcement from the rebar, as I'm sure the integrity has been sacrificed over the years.
Right.
And it's like you say, I don't really feel comfortable with it. Okay, this is the under part of the building. It's the what they would consider as a crawl space into the building. And they haven't storage that they need, so they have been putting things in here and storing it, which we probably shouldn't be doing, but they do because they have no other place to put this stuff. This is another example of the bearing wall that
It sure is.
The doorways open into the hallway, and they're not pocketed. Today's codes tell us that they have to be inserted into the hall. So in case of a fire, and this hallway is full of smoke, people could be running into these doors and falling down and tripping, and everybody
tripping at each other.
Yeah, it causes a log jam, and people die.
Right.
You know, and they can't get out. And this is one of the things that we have to deal with. Like you say, they build a wall here, they built another wall over there, and they built this wall over here that our IT department's in now. And as you look, you can see that wall is not attached to the ceiling also.
Exactly,
And so in a seismic event, those walls would more than likely would collapse. And
Brad, you've just seen 3 schools. Were you surprised?
Well, yes, I was. From a distance, it seems like those schools are just fine the way they are, and I can see why some people may not want to vote for this bond issue, but on close inspection, you see that things really are crumbling, and they need to be replaced. And I think in the long run, the school district will spend a lot less money by replacing those schools now rather than waiting.
I think you're right.
I do implore anyone to go to the Grand County Schools website, thegranschools.org, and click on the link, and it will take you directly to the needs assessment, and it explains everything in detail. The things that we went through today is just a fraction of the needs and problems that we have in the district, and this will help everyone to understand what this is all about.
Great.